Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Monotto, please welcome Wells Fargo Senior Vice President of Technology Alliances and Business Development, Manoj Govindan.
Thank you. Excited to be here. My first visit to Arkansas and Little Rock. And Gary, thank you for helping make this happen. My name's Manoj Govindan. I head up a technology and startup business development function at Wells Fargo under the Office of Innovation. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, but I work in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. Governor, apologies, but I think he's already left. But the role I play in the bank is to help the bank discover, validate, engage, and adopt emerging technology for the bank's needs, and then use that interaction to direct banking opportunities for Wells Fargo to bank liquidity events of these startup companies, IPO, M&A. In fact, we consider FI as both a vendor and a client, because we have actually helped the SunGard M&A, among other things. So anyway, so that's me. I now live in Charleston, South Carolina, and there is a college there, College of Charleston. And in my efforts to build both startup and fintech ecosystems, I did a little bit of that in New York City when I lived there, and in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live there as well. And now trying to do so in Charleston, I recruited myself into being a mentor for the College of Charleston's entrepreneurship program. And there discovered Chris, Jared, and Hank, who were a group that was pitching a company around financial stability for college students. And so what struck me about how they were thinking about this problem was how they were empathetic to the behaviors and the kind of social pressures around college students, and how they need to be able to think about saving, borrowing, spending, and investing, or even giving, for that matter. So that's what Monotto is trying to solve for. And so let's today welcome Chris Roop, who is the CEO, and see how they want to execute this vision for financial stability for millennials. Chris.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Manoj, for those kind words. Like you said, my name is Christian Roop. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Monotto. So to start, I want to introduce you to one of my friends, Gabby, and tell you a story. About a year ago, her car broke down, and it was going to cost her only $400 to fix the car. However, like most college students, she had zero savings and was unable to pay that $400. Fortunately for her, though, her parents stepped up and paid for the repairs. But that's not something that she can rely on forever. So Gabby is one of 80 million millennials. And those millennials struggle every day with poor spending decisions and a lack of savings. So what does that mean? That means millennials are awful at saving money. I know that that's a huge surprise to all the parents in the room, but it's true. And we know it's true because the millennials' saving rate is -2%, meaning that millennials spend more money than they make every single year. And that doesn't only affect the parents and them, it does affect the parents because they're the true victims, in all honesty. So why is that important to banks? It's important because those 80 million millennials now make up the largest generation in the history of the United States. And attracting them as account holders is critical to the health of a bank. Now, currently it costs the bank about $250 to keep up an account, which doesn't seem like a problem since the average account holder is worth about $410. Now, the problems really start to show when you look at those least valuable accounts, which are only about $92 of revenue every year, meaning that millennials are extremely risky account holders. Monotto solves this problem with a white-labeled, automated personal finance platform that brings millennials back to the bank and then de-risks them by increasing deposits and referring them to products that are relevant to them. Out of the 12,000 banks and credit unions in the United States, there are about 4,000 that really fit our marketing criteria. Of those 4,000, we're going to be really focusing on the 450 that have a similar integration process as the bank that we're currently working with. Ultimately, we really want to work with banks that are embracing innovation and seeking ways to help their users become financially stable. So why is this the perfect time for Monotto? It's perfect because two major trends are coming together at exactly the same time. First off, it is the age of automation. So you have products like Amazon Alexa, which are automating the house, and you have self-driving cars, which are automating transportation. But what does that mean for personal finance? It means that it's not enough anymore for an app to show you how much you spend or tell you how much you need to be saving. Now the app needs to actually take that information and act on it for you. The second major trend is that people are, for the first time in history, beginning to consume advanced financial technology from companies that aren't just banks. And that's evident from the startup-driven unbundling of the bank, which is a process that's allowing startup companies to take core functions of banks and act on them as their own business. This is forcing banks to find ways to stay relevant and offer state-of-the-art products. So what is our competition in this? It's no secret that the personal financial tech industry is a very crowded field. However, we stand apart by, instead of seeking to disrupt the bank, we've created a product that can enable the bank. So you have companies like Mint and Level Money, which can show you your finances but take no action. And then you have companies like Acorn and Digit, which can help you act but don't help you explore your finances or your goals. Monotto stands apart as an automated, evolving, and personalized platform that's integrated directly into the bank. So how do we do this? How do we make money? Oh, I did something wrong there. There we go. So how do we do this? We do this by analyzing their transactional history to learn how, when, and why they spend their money. Then, instead of putting them on a spending diet, because we all know that diets don't work, we remove the temptation of high-calorie spending mistakes by automatically transferring money out of their checking and into their savings. Now, what we have is a flexible API, which allows us to, one, we can integrate directly into the bank's existing app, or we can build a completely separate standalone app. Aside from the personal finance, we have predictive analytics that allow us to know when a user qualifies for an additional banking product, which we then present to them and direct them on how to sign up. So now, how do we make money? It's a very simple SaaS sales model. There's an implementation fee up front, which is based on the features that the bank wants implemented, and then there's a monthly fee, which is per user based. Now, when a user signs up for one of those additional banking products, the bank also gives us an additional referral fee. So how do we get banks to use our platform? Well, first we have a direct sales method. So we're targeting those 450 banks that I talked about earlier with a very experienced sales team. Indirectly, what we're going to do is we're going to partner with large banking software providers and state banking associations for distribution plans and endorsements for a revenue share. Now today, I am extremely excited to announce our very first customer. It's one of the most innovative banks that we've gotten to speak with this entire program, Bear State Bank. And they're here today, so I just want to say how great it's been to work with such a forward-thinking group of people. And on that same theme, I'd like to introduce you to my team. Like I said, my name is Christian Root. My co-founders are Hank Stocker, who is our CTO, and Jared Kopelman, who is our COO. Like Manoj said earlier, we met back in college, where we initially came up with the idea of Monotto and received our initial funding to grow our company. Now, one of our greatest assets is our advisors. So you got to meet Manoj a minute ago. He's been with us since day one and helped us to grow. And then we've also added Kevin Simback, who is the head of strategy and transformation for the financial sector at IBM. Since we've been in the program, we've also added Scott Jones, who is the principal architect over at Axiom Corporation. Now, looking at our numbers, you see that we expect to see revenue of almost $17 million in 2020, and we expect to be profitable by the end of 2017. Now, what we are doing to accelerate our growth and our development is we are doing a seed funding round of $600,000. Half of that is going towards development, and the rest is going to be split in between operations and sales. Now, we've started this round this week, actually, and we already have $100,000 committed, and we're hoping to end this up very soon. We are targeting the self-driving car generation, and we've created the self-driving car of their bank accounts. Thank you guys so much. I hope to meet a lot of you afterwards.